There was a fellow I heard about who got into Sheridan Animation, and he first studied a shorter program. I think it was about 2 years, and then he applied 3 years in a row till he got in. And every time he'd present his portfolio, he'd ask the professors, "Okay, what am I missing? What do I got to work on?" And he'd just take the whole next year focusing on that. And he didn't give up. And he got in, and he's doing great now, and he's loving
I
it.
love this guy. So that there's a very important rule
That's what
there.
you're saying.
If you have the drive, you're going to hear no. Before I got hired at Warner Brothers, I probably had every studio, no joke, say no to me at least 5 times. And I would just keep applying. I'd apply and they'd say no, and I'd say, can you give me feedback? And I keep getting, learning and learning and learning. And there's two types of people. There's person A who's going to apply and get the no and go, well, screw them, or I suck, and that's the end of it. And then there's a second person that's going to go, wow, well, they said no for a reason. I got to find out why, and then I got to figure out how to turn that why into action steps that I can take so that I can improve myself. Before I had sent my portfolio into Cal Arts, and I truncated that story, before I sent it in, my mom drove me down to Cal Arts and I showed them the first pass of my portfolio. And they said, do this, do this, do this. And I could have said, well, screw you, what do you know? I went, thanks for the insight. And I went back and I added those things. They said, don't draw Mickey Mouse, draw your own character. Okay, all the Mickey Mouse drawings that I thought I needed, those are out. Do flip books so we can see that you can do motion. Okay, great. I did flip books, right? You gotta be willing to put yourself out there, recognize that nobody is perfect. There ain't nobody who, I mean, the minute you know everything, you're dead, right? You're always growing. Even if you're a master in your art, there's always a new software, a new tool that you can use. You always need to be taking that next step. So you absolutely got to have that passion, and then you got to do that first pass, get the feedback. And one of the things I teach my students is that you got to, and this, I just found this to be true in the studios. We always do 3 passes before it's approved. I don't know anybody who just does the first pass and the director's like, that is awesome, you are approved. It's like, oh, that's pretty good, okay, but change this, 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 and then you do the pass, and they look at it again and go, it's getting better, change this, this, and this, and then you do that third pass, and then 9 times out of 10, they're like, that's it, okay, next, right?
Yes, and that's what I do with looking at student portfolios for whatever visual art they're applying to. That basically I kind of tell them I'm an editor for your portfolio, and that you need to do your first draft, your second draft. And it usually does take 3, but now that you mention it, and whether it's me or a prof or another student that's in the field where you want to go, or even if you have nobody else, it's your high school teacher, I recommend having somebody in your field or in the college where you want to apply. But yeah, you need to look at it and try. And I've seen lots of students have to apply a second year. Um, so like with a lot of students I've worked with, they'll try on their own the first year. Some of them give up. But a lot of them, they go, okay, well, I didn't get in on my own. I obviously need to know some more stuff. What do I need to know? So then they find somebody like myself at portprep.com, and they learn what are the skills, number one, and acquire those. And they'll work for a whole year just working on building those skills and building their ideas, which mainly I find is the most important. Like, yes, you need to show some basic skill, but more importantly, you got to show your ideas, that you can think and that you're original. Now, like you were saying, don't draw Mickey, draw your own character, right? And don't do more of the same thing. See what you can do that's more original so they can see that you're going to be that next generation of people coming out. Because a good school wants to be putting out the best grads so that they're the next innovators out in the industry.
Yeah,
So if you start thinking that way, not just can I create what's already out there,
be different, set yourself apart. Because you got to remember those schools, in trying to market themselves, I mean, a school is a business. They need money. They need tuition. They want to have students go out there. Let's use the animation industry, for example. They want to have their students get placed at Pixar or Disney. Yeah. So in their marketing, they have branding by association. Like, our student, Bob, just graduated. He's working at Pixar. That's the level of quality. You can get a job at Pixar too. Right? So
yes.
So they
one of my students right now I'm working with, he's got his sights set on going to Sheridan Animation, And when I first met him, he couldn't draw at all, but he was studying computer science, and he realized, I'm just not going to be happy. I got to do this. How do I learn how to draw? And he's just been working really hard, and he's gone to the school, talked to students. What do I have to do? So he's taking a shorter program first. This 3-year program at Sheridan. It's a new one. Something, I think it's called Visual and Creative Arts or something. But he's really curious if it's going to be the right thing to study. Is it going to be enough? Maybe I should shift into animation or illustration to prepare myself. But he's really got the focus of what he's got to do to be able to get there, right? He was so blown away by all the posters from major movie productions of all the great animation stories that students from that school had gone to. And I mean, it's complete marketing strategy. Make sure they're putting up those posters. Our students worked on this project. So he was just blown away because he saw, students that had worked at Pixar on Toy Story and things like that. So he's just really jazzed to get to there.
I mean, I think the big thing is know what they want to see. And I remember when I applied to Cal Arts, before I applied, we set up a time for me to personally meet with the career count or the I guess student council, whatever it's called. But in the recruiting department, they have staff, and those staff are more than happy to give you 15 minutes to sit down with them. They want your money. They don't want to say no to you. They want to say, yes, we want your thousands of dollars, right? It's in their best benefit, but they have to have a certain level of quality. Otherwise, it makes them look bad. So you have every right. I mean, if in a perfect world, you set up a time and you get the notes and you give yourself a month to do it, and then just keep setting a time. And then eventually they're going to go, you should apply. And that's when you put the $40, the $100, whatever. I haven't applied to college recently, but whatever that is, then you put it down. And then the first time you apply, you're going to get in because you're not just going blindly. You actually have a relation, and that goes back to what I was teaching before. You got to have relationships with people. So if that career counselor is like, this person, I've met with them 6 times. They were terrible in the beginning, but through my coaching, they're now pretty good, right? There's no harm in that. And you can also find, go on Facebook and find, if you want to go to Cal Arts, for example, do a search on Facebook for Cal Arts students and just compliment it. Hey, I like your work. I like what you're doing. And you're going to get a friendship with them. So use social networking to find people who are on that same journey you're on, like a couple of years ahead of you, and say, hey, can you help me? Can you just look at my stuff? And if you call up somebody out of the blue and say, I need you to do something for me, they're going to say, yeah. But if you call up somebody who you've already been talking to and complimenting them and giving them value, and after a couple months of that, you're like, hey, I'm thinking of going to Cal Arts, I have my portfolio, they're 9 times out of 10 going to say, oh, well, do you have a link? Right? They're going to ask you to do it. Just like going back to when I was at Rhythm Hughes, the recruiting department, I didn't have to ask them to send my stuff to their friends. They just did it. So that's where you have to really have that goal. I want to go to Cal Arts, and then who do I need to talk to in a cheap manner, i.e. I'm not going to pay the $500 tuition or the portfolio submittal fee. I'm just going to call them and get input, right? So you got to be strategic about what you're trying to pull off.
That makes sense. So that at one point you might want to pay to have the portfolio assessed, but initially just making contact, finding out what you need, and creating a relationship even there, just like you do in your career. Mm-hmm. Now, and this one student, he went on the tour. He made sure he talked to students. As the fact that he's going to be going to another program, I've been telling him, you go and moonlight there and you look in those display cabinets, you talk to students and you make appointments with those profs, and you get to know what do you really need to fine tune your whole strategy. And one of the things that when I worked at Sheridan that I found really interesting, and a bit revealing, that it even helps a high school student to be aware of it, that the college gets its government funding and support not from the number of students but the number of graduates. And so when you're applying, it's not just to say, look, I'm talented and look, I have ideas. You really want to also show that you're a really committed, organized person, that you're the kind of person that's going to graduate and that you're going to do well in the field and do well for them, that you're going to have a poster up in their school in the future. Because we do, like you said, a school is still a business, and we need to sort of get outside of the high school mentality and really get the whole picture of not just what do I want for myself, which is really important, and you've had some wonderful insights for that, but what would the college want, and what value can I add to them that they're going to see this person's worth letting in when we've got thousands of applicants and only, a very small number of students. Like at Sheridan still, they're only taking around 60 students. It's small.
Yeah.
So I don't know how big CalArts is right now.
Don't know. I think their first year, most colleges that I work with, their first year is about 100, anywhere from 60 to 120 students. But when you get over that, it's kind of manageable.
That's what I see a lot, and I'm hearing anywhere from as low as 500 applicants to as much as 5,000 applicants.
It gets up there.
So it's pretty competitive.
It's highly competitive. So if you don't have that goal in mind and you're not strategically thinking about how you're going to first get into college, and next get your first job, and then your second job, and then your third job, by the third job you've got a pretty solid career, and there's going to be ups and downs, but you have established yourself as being somebody who is hireable. So it's right. I think I just outlined 5 steps that you need to take, and you need to plan those out ahead of time, and that's...
Yeah, it helps. At Waterloo University here in Canada, they're one of the most sought after architecture programs. And one of the things they tell their students is to not just think, oh, that's my goal to go to that school. They want to see that you're thinking about what's my career goal and why is it that I want to go to this particular school, so that they want to know who you are, what are your career goals overall, so that they can assess, are we the right school for you, and are you the right student for us? So that sort of starting to find out more about the profession through people like you, to know what to expect, what are they maybe interested in, even though they may not know yet because they're just starting out. But to start thinking that way is part of what's helpful. Now, I'm wondering if you could comment on, just to kind of tie this up, what do you think, since I'm working mostly with students getting into college, a couple of things I'd love your advice on for them. What to include in their portfolio, just as a kind of a list, and then what to look for in a college.
Okay. Funny you should ask. I have a free ebook that is on my site, and the site, depending on when you watch this video, the site is now, I'm redoing it. I am doing it right. It takes 3 times to get everything right? So right now is version 2, and version 3 is going to be coming out in the next couple of months. And when you go there, there's all this free information on how, what I have checklists. This is what you need when you apply to a college. This is what you need when you apply to your first job, right? Because it's really important information. And I also have mentoring programs and stuff that go much more in depth. But if you just want that broad, big picture, I have that all for free. I want to give back, just like Alex mentored me. Without him talking to me for a lunch period, I wouldn't be here right now. So it's like, hopefully I can help some students out. But ultimately, when you're applying to the college, you got to have the life drawings. You got to really show I can communicate visually. You can have some flip books, which are basic, like bouncing balls, just basic stuff that make the person that's reviewing it, which is usually going to be a working animator, or it's somebody who was a working animator is now retired. There's 2 types of professors. There's the working people that come in and teach the night class, and then there's the full-time faculty, and that's all they do, so they're no longer in the industry. So those are the people that are going to review your stuff. And they don't want to see pictures of Mickey Mouse or whatever, I don't know, like anime, Japanese anime or anything like that. They don't want to see other people's characters. They want to see your characters. They want to see what's out of your imagination. They want to know that you understand how other people design characters, Study Disney character design. Study there's some great designs on like Cartoon Network, that I see every time I flip through the channels. There's, I don't even know the shows, but I'm like, wow, that looks really cool. Study those, but don't do those drawings and put them in your portfolio. Draw those, learn the formulas, but then put that away and do your own. So I think that would be the two biggest components is the life drawing, can you draw? And then the cartoony drawing, and when I say cartoon, I mean more illustrative drawing. It doesn't mean it has to be like cartoony, but drawings for animation that are original to you and that show a very clear story. And when I say that, if you're drawing a character and they're walking and they're happy, make sure when I look at that, it communicates. That's a guy walking and he's happy. If it's just some boring, stiff thing, I'm like, there's no personality in this. And you got to remember, when you think of animation, the number one thing you think about is a great story, and that great story is about great characters who you relate to. So going back to a thing as simple as a drawing, I need to look at that drawing and relate to it. Go, oh, I get it. He's walking down the street and he's happy, he's whistling, and you have clear poses and clear silhouettes. And so I'd highly recommend go and get the book. It's Cartoon Animation by Preston Blair. It's super basic, and that's what you need. Start simple. Don't get complicated here. If you just learn what's in that Preston Blair book, that's animation. I mean, it's not anymore, aside from refining your craft and learning how to be a better actor and better filmmaker, the art of animation, Preston Blair pretty much sums up. So even though I have some books I'm coming out with, I still tell people, go and get that book too, because that book is that's what taught me. I remember when I was about 15, there was a comic book drawing course down in San Jose, and I go there, and I was, clearly the youngest kid, and there's all these older guys, like their death metal jackets, and they're like drawing these like hardcore action heroes, and I walk in, and I'm like, I like Preston Blair, and they're like, just get this kid out of here, he wants to draw Mickey Mouse and stuff, but I recognized that the Preston Blair stuff was really simple, but it was also like, it was the fundamentals. So please learn that stuff. So drawings of your own characters, your own imagination, and very clear life drawing. And if you're like a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, 16-year-old, and the thought of going to a community college and drawing nude figures freaks you out, you know what? Get over it. I know that some people have like highly religious parents, or you might be in a country where you can't do that. Then don't go to a nude class, but like go and watch people at the beach. It doesn't have to be you don't have to be naked or anything, but just having like shirts off so you can see, like let's say it's a guy, you're going and you're drawing like volleyball players who have their shorts on, but you want to see the muscles, you want to see what's going on, you need to understand the form, because the minute you start drawing clothes over it, if you haven't mastered what's underneath those clothes, right, you got to understand the muscle system and especially humans and how everything's connected to the spine, and that's how you get line of actions. I mean, you want to start broad, but then as your learning goes, and you're going to get better and better and better, and it takes a while. So start with those basic things. Show the school that you understand those basic things. That's all they want. They want to know this person understands the foundation, and now we can start layering on top of that.